Hello, Paracave podcast listeners. My name is Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty and long-term sponsor of the Paracave podcast. If you're looking to sell your property or buy, or just curious to know what your property is worth in today's market, give me a call today on 0421 588 445.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Paracave podcast. Troy Warner here, and it is game day preview podcast time, and it is round 22 in the NRL. It is Women in League round this weekend in the NRL, and this week the Parramatta Eels, who are in 16th spot, take on the New Zealand Warriors, who are in 12th spot, over there at Gameday Stadium in Auckland, 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and also that will be, I think, 8 p.m. over there in New Zealand. So this is the first time since 2017 that these two sides have played over there in New Zealand at, Gameday Stadium now, was previously Mount Smart Stadium. On that occasion, the Warriors won 22 points to 10. A long time between drinks there. 7 years since they last played over there in New Zealand. A lot has happened in between those times. But overall, since 1995, when the Auckland Warriors, as they were called back in the day, came into the NRL competition, or the ARL competition as it was back there in 95. The NRL didn't start till 1998. The Eels and the Warriors have played 44 times, and the Eels have hold the advantage, 25 wins to the Warriors 19. At this venue, Mount Smart Stadium, or Gameday Stadium as it's called now, there has been 18 games where the Warriors lead the Eels with 12 wins to the Eels 6, so you could understand there that they have a slight or double the advantage of the Eels. Always hard to win over there in New Zealand. However, out of the last 10 games, the Warriors have only won 4, but they did win last year's game between these two sides, which is the last time they played. And that was at CommBank Stadium, where the Warriors won 46 points to 10. More on that game a little bit later. So they've only played in finals twice in finals. 2001, the Eels won 56 points to 12. That was at Parramatta Stadium. The Eels were on fire in that year, 2001. And the second time was a much closer affair where the Eels won 12 points to 10. That was 2007, and that game was in New Zealand. Now, famous games that I can remember anyway, but the listeners might be able to come up with some other famous games that you can think of between these two clubs. Well, the first game that these two clubs ever played was back in 1995. The New Zealand Warriors, or as they were known back then, the Auckland Warriors, won 40 points to 4. Often that game comes up as well on Fox League during the summertime as well as a classic game. First year in the competition, 40 points to 4 there. Skip forward to 2001. They played 3 times in 2001. 2 wins to the Eels and 1 to the Warriors. One of those games to the Eels was that semi-final, 56 points to 12. Always remember Jamie Lyon try. I think it was down the sideline in that game. 2014. Now, this is a pretty, I guess you could say, special game for myself. Not that I played in the game at all, but 2014, it was at Mount Smart Stadium. The Warriors won 48-0. Now, you would probably wonder why that is a special game for myself when the Parramatta Eels lost 48 points to nil. Well, over in New Zealand, they do have gambling sponsorship laws where you cannot advertise gambling on your rugby league jerseys and probably on all sports jerseys, but rugby league jerseys in particular. And you will see this from time to time when teams go over there with jersey sponsors that have gambling agencies. They are sponsored by gambling agencies. Well, in this case, in 2014, the Eels were sponsored by back of their jersey by Unibet, one of the gambling agencies at the time, and they, in conjunction with the Parramatta Eels, leading up to this game, the Eels ran a competition for its fans and members, and you could win the opportunity to have your name or nickname on the jersey, on the back of the jersey, with the green circles. I think it was 6 circles that were not vacant, but you could put a nickname or a last name or your first name in there, whatever you wanted. But I think you had six squares, 6 circles at the back of the jersey to put whatever you wanted there. Now, the winners were contacted before the game, obviously, and I was lucky enough to receive a phone call from the club, and I got to pick a number. Now, I think there was only, at the time, there were 17 jerseys. I think one went to jockey Nathan Berry, I think it was, and in the way of a tribute to the late jockey Nathan Berry. So he, the family, they were given the number 8 jersey, and that was worn by Darcy Lussick on that occasion. And as I said, that was a special game, and that jersey was given to the Berry family, and also there were 16 other winners. Now, as I said before, I was lucky enough to get a phone call from the Eels on that occasion. Now, I think there was only about 3 or 4 numbers left to choose from, and I was lucky enough that number 4 was one of those numbers that was available, and on that occasion, that jumper was worn by Willie Tonga. And another little piece of, I guess you could say, special memorabilia, Willie was captain on that day against the Warriors. So he captained the Warriors in that game. He wore number 4. So hanging proudly in the Para Cave is jersey number 4 from that occasion. It has the number 4 on the back. It has my last name in the Unibet circles. It is signed by Willie on the front, and he was captain. I've also got a couple of little pictures from that game where you can see Willie wearing that jersey in that game. So if over the weekend, I will try and get some photos of Willie in that jumper, and I'll post them on Instagram. 2019, fast forward to CommBank Stadium, and the Eels win 24 points to 22. Now, who could ever forget Mike Acevo and that palm on Blake Ashford? Absolutely amazing that was. I think he went the length of the field and scored the try then after that. But what a palm that was. I think Vossi was commentating at the time, and classic commentary from Vossi. 2020, the game was played at Central Coast Stadium. Now, this was during the COVID time that was happening across the world, and the Warriors were staying in Australia, and they were playing out of Gosford. The Eels won that game 24 points to 18 in front of a crowd of only 4,500 on that occasion. 2021 is a special game, Magic Round it was on that occasion. Parramatta won the game 34 points to 18. That was in front of 537 fans, I should say. And that was the day that Jacob Arthur made his NRL debut. He also scored a try on that occasion as well. And I think the video from after the game where his dad, Brad, the coach at the time, met him coming off the field was one of the most watched videos that were put out by the Eels of that season. On that day also, big RCG scored 2 tries on that occasion. Let's hope he can get across the stripe on twice on in this game as this current game, but that'd be nice. And of course, as I mentioned before, 2023, the Warriors, the last time Parramatta and the Warriors played was at CommBank Stadium. The Warriors won that game 46 points to 10. Now, with that game was, I think, during Origin period, and I think Mitchell Moses played in that last Origin game last year. I think it was 2023. I could be wrong, but I think he didn't play. And there was a lot of about Sean Johnson as well. Will he or won't he play in that game because of the birth of his child? So he ended up playing and played a starring role in that game. Ryan Madison actually played 5/8 on that occasion, so a little bit interesting there that Ryan played 5/8, but he is playing in this game as well this weekend. So, look, when it comes to famous players, we'll start with coaches actually, and the inaugural coach of the Warriors in the day was John Mooney, obviously premiership winning coach at the Parramatta Eels in 1986, and also coach Daniel Anderson as well. He coached the Warriors to their first grand final appearance and also coached Parramatta to a grand final appearance in 2009 as well. Andrew McFadden, well, look, he's got a little bit of a half and half sort of thing happening here. He played at the Parramatta Eels and also coached the New Zealand Warriors in the competition as well. So he played at Para and he coached the Warriors in first grade. Famous players that have played, or most notable players, I guess you could say, that played for both the Parramatta Eels and the New Zealand Warriors. Krisnan Inu, Felipe Mateo, Wade McKinnon, Michael Witt, Big Tukes, Mark Tukey, Justin Morgan, PJ Marsh, Lee Odenryan played at both clubs as well. Mark Horo, Matt Spence, John Simon, Joe Nalaval, Paul Ferreira, Kieran Foran, who is these days playing for the Gold Coast Titans, Suaya Matangi, Marata Niakure, who's playing in this game this weekend, Isaiah Papali'i, who is currently at the Tigers, and Jack Murchie as well. So there's a couple of players, a few players that have played throughout the years for both clubs. Now, to this game, this week, this current round 22 in the NRL Women in League round, and the Warriors obviously go into the game as favourites. The Eels are outsiders in this game. The back line of the Warriors side looks pretty strong. Chance, Nickel-Clockstar, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the wings. A lot of hyphenated names in this side for the Warriors. Chanel Harris-Tavita as well, Adam Fanua-Blake. I guess the Warriors side is the most hyphenated named team in the competition. Parramatta's obviously got Regan Campbell-Gillard. So the Parramatta side is the same one that went down to the Melbourne Storm at CommBank Stadium last Friday night. So, look, it's going to be an interesting game, this one. Look, I think, obviously, it's a sellout over there in New Zealand, and congratulations to the Warriors fans and members for getting behind your side, even though you are not doing what you would think you would have wanted to be doing this season, especially after the season that you had last year, where you made the preliminary final. But excuse me, congratulations to selling out every single home game over there in New Zealand. Our first, not only in the NRL but in rugby league history, I do believe, that something like that has been done. That is a massive effort, and look, rest assured, one day, I do not know when, but I will get over there for a Parramatta Eels versus Warriors game. I don't know when, don't know how, but I will get over there for one. But congratulations for selling out all the home games this season. Now, it's going to be tough for the Eels, again, without no Mitchell Moses. He's not going to be there for the whole rest of the year with that bicep injury. And look, a little bit of news during the week as well with Blaze Talangi. He has informed the club that he will be leaving the club at the end of the year, which is pretty disappointing. More on that one to come from myself at a later date. But I think could that cause a little bit of unrest between the teammates? Who knows? But we'll just have to wait and see there. For Parramatta, they just need to get off to a good start. They need to get off to a good start, try and block out the crowd. Their discipline has got to be on song, and not give away ruck infringements, not give away penalties. Obviously, they're going to have to watch Sean Johnson on his return from an Achilles injury. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on the wings there. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. Look, he can score a try in the corner, can't he? He absolutely can jump and score great tries. Mitch Barnett is probably their player of the year so far, and probably will be for the year. He made his State of Origin debut in Game 3 this year, so he is one of their linchpins. We see what Adam Fanua-Blake can do. Last year, he hasn't had the best of years this year. There has been glimpses of 2023. He still is a danger. He's off to the Cronulla Sharks next year. Murata Niokore, as I mentioned before, he played for the Parramatta Eels, and we all know what players playing up against their old club does. They seem to get up for that game and want to put one on their old side. That is for sure. So, look, I don't know how this game is going to go. I hope it is not a flogging. It's always, as I said before, it's tough to go over there to New Zealand and get a win, but I don't think a lot of people are tipping Parramatta to win. I think a lot of the punters are tipping the New Zealand Warriors, even those in their tipping comps as well. So, look, I think it'll be a 32-14 game, and I think the Warriors will win this game. I hope I'm wrong. Look, we saw against the Melbourne Storm, the Parramatta Eels, they did hang in there with a fight in that first half. They did get to the lead on two occasions. They scored the first try last week, and then Melbourne hit back, and then they got another try. So they did lead twice in that first half. Just in that second half, they fell away, unfortunately, and mistakes cost them the game, their win. So hopefully they can control their mistakes, make less mistakes this game, and who knows? Who knows what can happen? There could be a major upset, but look, I think it's going to be very tough for the Eels to beat the Warriors. The Warriors, 2 wins out of their last 5, and the Eels, they've lost their last 5 games in a row, so not too good reading there. they're going to have their completion rate up to beat the Warriors side. They're on 76% for the year. The Warriors 81%. The Eels have scored 47 less points than the Warriors, but they have conceded an extra 102 points than the Warriors, so that their defence is a concern. So, look, I am tipping a Warriors victory, unfortunately, and look, I hope I am wrong. I don't know. I can't remember who I tipped for a first try scorer. I think actually what I will do after this chat, and in this chat, you'll hear my little conversation I had with the guys at the Wars Up podcast. I joined them on Tuesday night for a bit of a preview. It was as a little mini interview, but I won't play that one. I'll just get the game preview and tag it on to the end of this one. But thank you very much to Wars Up for having me on their show. I really appreciate it, to preview this game, the Eels and the Warriors. And look, give them a follow on Instagram. They're also on YouTube as well. Fanatical Warriors supporters doing great things in the rugby league content social media space. So you'll hear that one too. And as I said, I can't remember if I picked a first try scorer in that conversation, but if I was to pick one off random, and I may have already picked one as well on the Talking Para podcast that was on Tuesday night as well. I honestly, I cannot remember, but I'll just go with Will Penasini, my old mate Will Penasini, in the centre position to score the first try. 32 points to 14. The Warriors will win. And look, I actually do remember from the Talking Para podcast, a bold prediction that I did say was that all hyphenated names in this game will score tries. So obviously more from the Warriors than the Eels. So that means that RCG is going to score a try this weekend, just like he did in 2021. But thank you for listening to this preview, Game Day preview, Eels and Warriors. As I said, I will tag on just after this, so don't switch off after this. I'll put the Wars Up interview that I did on Tuesday night as well onto the end of this, and you can have a listen to that one. So thank you very much for listening. Please share with your family and friends. Join the Instagram page as well. And look, go Para.
Well, we're getting close to the end of our night, guys. We're kind of coming into kind of score prediction. How do you think the game will go? Type part of the game. I'll chuck this to you, Troy. I mean, yes, it's probably the first time since 2017 that you guys have come over. I always feel, for me personally, that Para is a team we've always struggled with. I hate to look at the record books, but I'm pretty sure you guys are probably on top of us. Although last year we did get a pretty solid win against you. Bearing in mind everything that's happening around you, how do you think this game will kind of go, and what's probably your scoreline prediction for yourself?
Oh, look, it's going to be pretty difficult for Parramatta to get up for this game over there. I think, they're obviously the full house again, so congratulations to New Zealand Warriors fans for selling out every single game this year. So another blackout, so they say. Look, I think we scored the first try last week for the first time in a long time, but you just have to get off to a good start, don't you, in these games, or in any game. You obviously want to be leading from the front. You don't want to be coming from behind. It's just discipline's going to be an issue as well. You don't want to give away the ruck infringements or penalties. Hopefully no sin binnings this week. Look, I think the forward battle is going to be interesting, as we've just pointed out there. Most of the Warriors forwards are probably a little bit more dominant against the Parramatta forwards. The backs will be an interesting clash as well. Look, I think in terms of a score prediction, you want a score prediction? Is that right?
Yep.
Go ahead, my brother.
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
Are you going to ruin our finals hopes?
Please.
Look, to let you on a little secret, I think actually the Warriors will win this game. I don't think Parramatta will win this game. I tipped the Melbourne Storm last week, so I think I'll tip the Warriors again. Look, it's at home. You guys have got a slim finals chance. You got to win every single game to get there. So look, this game is probably more important for you guys, so to speak. I mean, obviously we don't want to lose and the Tigers win and then they jump us and we go back down to the bottom. But look, I think maybe a 32-14 or something like that, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. That's a pretty big score for us. We've been pretty tight lately.
Yeah. Well, you might open up the gates, mate.
I like it, man. If you've been tipping well lately, then I'll trust your tips.
No, I haven't. My tipping this year's been hopeless. So.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Oh, no.
Heard for a lost
there
people.
Goes our luck.
Yeah. Hey, I'll chuck this one to you, Ash, mate. What do you make of the game? And in your view, what will be that score prediction for you?
Yeah, it's tough. This is one of those games that you just worry about, like it kind of was last week. Games that you somewhat were expected to win in a way. I feel like majority, even by the bookies, they say you probably expected to win. And when you see the Parramatta Eels in the position where they're in now, unfortunately, no Moses and that, which really hurts you guys, unfortunately. And looking at your 3-game average, so I like to break things down 3-game averages, see how your form's going and stuff like that. So sort of about the games of the Rabbits, Titans, and Melbourne Storm. Attacking wise, you're well below your average of 19.7 points per game. You're at 15.3, so you aren't scoring as many points, obviously, without Moses there. Yeah. And then looking at conceding, you're the second last team, second worst team defensively in the competition right now, unfortunately, which is, it's not good to see. And then within the last 3 games, you've actually gotten a little bit worse. It's only 0.1 of a percentage worse than your last 3 games. So when I look at the weaknesses of Para, coming into it as a Warriors fan, obviously you guys concede the most line breaks in the competition right now, which is really unfortunate with you guys. And I feel like there's just individuals switching off in moments and middles not tying in. There's been a couple of moments where as soon as players cut back on the inside, your middles aren't working hard enough to tie in those gaps from your edge back rollers. So those are the moments where I think that we can hopefully strike with some back rollers like Maratani Tueday getting turned back under from Shawnee, or having Curdy Capewell off his left foot and just dancing around the way he does. And then looking at our last 3 games, so we are holding about 20.6 points per game scoring, and we're getting better defensively ever so slightly at 16.3 points per game. So we're still slightly a top 8 defense, which is we're trying to hold on to that after the year that we've had and getting 60 point us by the Gold Coast Titans. So for me, bro, I'm looking at this. I'm probably going to say I think it's actually going to be a close game. I think Para are going to come over and give us something, because we seem to struggle at games where we're somewhat supposed to win. We're trying to turn the engine over. We're doing it all season. So I'm going for about a 24-16 game. The magic number, as we've been saying this season, hopefully if you get over that 24-point mark, you should come home with the victory in this competition with a good defense, and hopefully we can turn to that side. And as I said, but seeing your stats scoring wise, around that 16-point range seems to be where you guys are at the moment. But that's where I'm kind of seeing it. But some strengths to you guys though is you're a good offloading side, as you probably know. Yeah. Offloads off at the back, but we've been a fairly good side at trying to limit offloads. But we saw at the end of last year we struggle with second phase footy sometimes. So when the ball starts to swing around everywhere, I see our defensive systems start to break down a little bit. So that's where I think you can crack us. When you got Dylan Brown playing off the cuff is when you guys are really, really hard to stop. So, but that's where I'm seeing it, bro. 24-16, around that sort of range.
Yeah, very tight one. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I think for me, it's kind of an interesting turning. Well, we need kind of a turning point or a momentum changer for our season. I feel it's very tight right now. I think there's the kind of call for SJ coming back and hopefully turning things around on the attacking side of things. I think this is probably the best back 5 we've had in a while, barring maybe say Rocco Berry. This probably seems the most balanced in terms of speed, yardage. Our defense has improved as well, so I think we should hold to that mark. But in a weird way, I've just got a vibe that this might be a blowout, but only from the sense that we need it to kind of pick our season up. So I'm going around 40-12. I'm going out on a limb here, guys. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you, Troy. And I'll probably be wrong.
Oh, look, no, doesn't worry. That may very well happen. We've had a few 40-point games put on us this year.
Probably the argument to that, I was like, you still got quality on the field, and obviously it'd have to be a really dominant forward game for us. But I just feel for our club, where our fans are dying out for something that feels a bit more solid and consistent. Wouldn't be surprised if it is tight, but I just got this weird feeling like this is the turning point where things can turn around. But hey, I have to bring you back on the podcast if you pump us.
Look, you're right. I mean, we've got nothing to lose, so everything's played for.
Well, that's scary too. Yeah, that's a bit of a worry
That's
for me.
scary for us, bro.
Yeah, you've got nothing, so we might get a bit tight. You guys might be a bit more freer, but I'm just chucking it out there, guys. All my predictions have been wrong pretty much this year, so hopefully I haven't jinxed it. But no, thank you very much, Troy, man.
Not a problem.
We really appreciate you.
Anytime.
I've met you kind of on Instagram. Enjoy seeing you around. I know you've been a supporter of all the, Warriorholic, Warriors Fan TV. And for me personally, Parramatta is a club I actually kind of have a bit of respect for. No, you're not like the Melbourne Storm. I would never have a Storm person on here. So you're a friendly club to the Warriors. I hope you guys feel the same way about us. But great to have you on, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for having me on. And at the start of the year, I actually tipped you guys to be premiers. So sorry about that one.
You're a beast.
And I was going for you guys in the finals last year as well. But thank you very much for having me on. Really appreciate it. And anytime.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any
last words from you, Ash, before we wrap up?
Nah, man, I need to know where you buy all your memorabilia and all that sort of stuff, bro, because my room could get so much better than what this is right now comparatively to what you got going on there, bro. I love your man case. So,
I get a lot of it from What's Your Team up there at Redcliffe in Queensland. There's been some from Peter Wins from over the years. There's been some from the club as well from over the years, and there's probably a little bit from eBay as well here and there. So,
I love
just
eBay,
anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah,
great stuff,
it's embarrassing. I need to get a fake memorabilia background and just pretend I've got all this memorabilia. But look at me, I've got bare bones in there. I'm pretty much naked right behind me. You're fully clothed. Ash has got a bit of clothing on. I've got nothing. But I appreciate you, man. Something to aspire to. But mate, that is absolutely awesome, man. Thank you again, Troy.
No worries.
Much love
you.
for the chat as well, man.
Enjoy the game. May the best team win.
Yeah, we will, man. Hopefully we don't see you on here again saying, hey, I told you so. Watch out. But we appreciate you. Take care, everyone.
The Para Cave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Eels Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, BTZD Clothing, and the official media partner of the Para Cave Podcast, the Parramatta Times.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Parramatta Podcast. See you next time.